The 1960 presidential election between John F. Kennedy and Richard Nixon was one of the closest elections since the election of 1916. After the election, with Kennedy as the decisive winner, a lot of allegations of voter fraud came up. For example, in Illinois, there were reports that people who were deceased were reportedly voting with their names on ballots. Additionally, in Texas, there were reports that people who were not actually voting voted. For example, in one county, 86 people reportedly voted, yet 147 were tallied. My name is Matt Capizzuto, and as a United States citizen, I plan to vote in the 2016 presidential election. I believe it is important to vote in the election because it is our civic duty, and because, as Americans, we need to participate in the democracy that our founding fathers created for us. As a person who researches current events and likes to stay up with the current day news, I feel that it is important for us to do this so that we can create a better nation for ourselves and our children in the future. The United States has a very low voter turnout for young people, and this caused a lot of unrest in society because people believe that our government is not representing everyone equally. To address this problem, we should start to help people vote more and make it easier to register to vote. In the 2000 election between George Bush and Al Gore, there was a lot of controversy for voter fraud as well. According to an article by Barney Wharf and Cynthia Waddell, Al Gore did win the popular election by about 500,000 votes. However, he lost the Electoral College when he lost Florida by 537 votes. Think your vote doesn't count? Well, in comparison, 537 is much smaller than the 838 students that Iona accepted in their freshman class this year. The election of 2000 was the first election in 112 years where the winner of the popular vote did not win the Electoral College. This is strange because usually there is a correlation with the two, but we'll come back to that later. The Supreme Court did rule in a late-night decision that a recount of the votes would violate the principle that all votes must be treated equally, and so therefore they also did not have the amount of time to conduct a recount that would have the constitutional muster in order to make this happen. Democracy has been said to be the purest when voters are free from government influence and when a large amount of the population is actually voting. To exercise this right, it is important to register, and it is also important to be knowledgeable of who you're voting for. According to an article written by Daniel Snyder and Peter Ford, voter turnout in presidential elections has been steadily dropping since 1960 and hit an all-time low of 50% in 1988. Due to difficulty of voter registration, only 70% of actual legal citizens register to vote who are eligible. This is a problem because not enough of our population is voting, and a lot of our population is upset when they are not represented properly. One solution to this came in the Motor Voter Act, which was signed and claimed that if you have a driver's license, you're automatically registered to vote. This boosted voter registration by 5 million. However, it didn't concretely make people vote, and voter turnout was not affected as heavily. A survey created for an article written by Jessica Vitak surveyed 4,000 students at a Midwestern school of 47,000. Of the students who were surveyed, 96 claimed to have a Facebook, and 96 also claimed that they were registered to vote. Once again, just because they're registered does not mean they actually went out and vote, but it is a good step in the right direction. The results of the survey were as follows. Students who engaged in feel-good politics, which would be watching debates or posting things on Facebook, was pretty much the majority of what any students were doing. For the most part, students weren't likely to participate in anything along the lines of volunteering or any activism work. Jessica Vitak coined the term slacktivism to describe this correlation. You see, she believes that when we don't volunteer or work as activists, we're actually letting a part of our democracy slide. That's another problem when you look at the charts I'm bringing up. As you can see, voter turnout is best between the ages of 55 and 75 in the 2014 general election, and it's best from about 55 onward in the 2008 presidential election. Now, what does this mean for young people? Well, in the 2014 election, voter turnout for people ages 18 to 24 was under 10%. This means that topics we care about, such as reform of college financial aid and care for those who are younger and looking for work are not going to be as important to the candidates. Because there's older candidates, or there's older voters, the candidates will look to assist things more on the lines of Social Security and retirement financing. So based on these charts, as you can see, young people need to step up and start voting more. As college students, we will be graduating soon and will become functioning members of society. To do so, we will be paying taxes and we will want to know where our taxes go. That is important for us because a lot of people are going to be concerned about our taxes going to socialist services as well as Social Security. We need to understand who we're voting for and pick candidates who give our generation the best chance to succeed. For example, if I'm a young person, I'm not going to go for a candidate who's going to go and increase Social Security. I'm going to look for a candidate who will decrease the common people's taxes and who will help us create better businesses and more jobs. According to Samantha Scharf, who's a writer for Forbes Business Magazine, 7.8 million people were reported as unemployed in February of this year. Additionally, 599,000 were considered discouraged workers. Discouraged workers are people who do not currently have jobs and are no longer looking for them because they don't believe that any of them are available. Because they're not actively searching for jobs, they're not considered unemployed because they do not seek assistance. As voters, we should try to stack the deck in our favor to help our society succeed. We should be trying to find candidates who will work to create jobs domestically rather than shipping them overseas. Voting is an important behavior and it shapes our country's policies and promotes a nation that works well as a community. Protecting our interests and carrying out our civic duty should be very important to us and we should actively seek to do so as much as possible. While we can only vote once a year, it is important to vote, and taking the time out of your day to do so is not only going to help you, but it's going to help our country. I encourage you to go down to your local county board of elections or to visit mydmv.gov if you're a New York resident and register to vote so that you can voice your opinion. Thank you. My name is Matt Capizzuto and I hope you enjoy your morning and go out to vote this year.